Hi, this is Grainne of All Aboard Therapy Services. I am a play and creative arts therapist and I'm based in the Midlands of Ireland. I'm currently in Boyle, County Roscommon. Today, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about something that I think many of us, whether we are parents, carers, foster parents, step parents, significant adults in a child's life, I think you'll be able to relate to this. So, this topic is about parent guilt. So one of the things that I would always say is that parenting is the easiest job in the world to have an opinion about, but it's the hardest thing in the world to do. So I don't know if anyone else can relate to that, but before I became a parent, I was a fantastic parent, as in I had great advice for people. So many ideas and suggestions and ways of working that I would advise parents to do. And I often think back to that time and think, wow, I really didn't have a clue. Especially now, parenting children who are neurodivergent, parenting children who have medical needs. My advice on my own parenting approach has changed. Very different to the parenting approach that I would have grown up with. And like many of us, sometimes we have to sit with what our parenting approaches are ourselves, what kind of parents we want to be, what relationship we want our children to have. So I think that parent guilt is something that's relevant for many of us, and we can understand when we are parents. Um, I think sometimes trying to escape from the parent guilt can be an enormous task because it's just relentless. You feel guilty about absolutely everything. I suppose traditionally it has been called mom guilt, and I totally understand why. Because in the majority of the households, the mums are the one who are still carrying the massive mental load and the guilt. This is something that I think we're hearing about a little bit more lately. Thankfully, I'm lucky in that we are a household where we have two mums, so things are a little bit more balanced, I would say. Hopefully, my wife Julia would agree with that. Um, but yeah, and that's something to think about as well. Is the guilt, is it appropriate to feel the guilt that we should feel? Are we doing the best that we can? Probably. So why are we feeling guilty about it? Perhaps it's the parent who isn't giving as much or giving enough, or thinking about their parenting, reflecting on their parenting. Perhaps it's that parent who, not that they should feel guilty, but might need to do a little bit more self reflection. So in general, I think my plan here really is to explore what parent guilt is and then try to give some tips to help counteract it, I suppose, and to try and be free of it. Um, so yeah, that's one thing. Another thing that I've said is guilt to parenthood. Parenthood is like grapes to wine. So say that again. Guilt to parenthood is like grapes to wine. How do we make wine? From crushing that heavy, pounding, and inescapable pressure. That, to me, is what parent guilt is like. It's crushing, it's inescapable, it's just so heavy. And one of the quotes that I saw when I was thinking about this is, "Welcome to parenthood. For the rest of your life, everything you do will be wrong to someone somewhere." And isn't that true? So welcome to parenthood. For the rest of your life, everything you do will be wrong to someone somewhere. And I suppose the unsolicited advice that we end up getting around parenting as well can be really, really frustrating. So that's just another thing, I suppose, to think about. If you don't have kids, maybe don't give advice. And also something that irritates me is, every child is different. If you don't have a child who has particular needs, then you're not going to understand what it's like to be a parent in that situation. Um, so some of the effects that I think that parent guilt can have, it can really have negative effects on our mental health and on our physical health. We beat ourselves up over every little decision or any potential or perceived mistake. It can be a constant barrage of negative self thoughts. That can lead on to stress, exhaustion, burnout, low energy, depression, anxiety, low self worth, the pressure to be perfect, which I think we have quite a lot of that in society already, especially as mums. Um, I do think that parent guilt can actually be as damaging and as deadly as poison ivy to a human, and I know that's a very strong thing to say, but I genuinely do believe that. It can affect our immune systems, which, let's face it, are probably already compromised by a lack of sleep and becoming a parent and the everyday stresses. Parent guilt can lead to a reduction in what we call happy hormones, and it can even lead to hormonal imbalances. Something that the Dalai Lama said is that guilt is incompatible with our thinking, as you are part of an action but not fully responsible for it. I also would like to just share this story from the Dalai Lama. And this story I found on www.innerpilgrim.com, and it's the blog on Dalai Lama on feeling guilt. So I just think these are wise words in a story. So one day the Dalai Lama was with a big group of people, some locals, some monks and nuns, and a big crowd of Westerners. People were invited to ask questions. There were questions about life, reincarnation, karma, questions about love and forgiveness and illness. Then one Westerner asked, "Please, dear Dalai Lama, how can I stop feeling so guilty?" There was a translator present, turning the English words into Tibetan. "Guilty, my friend?" asked the Dalai Lama. "So, what did you do?" No, said the Westerner. "I did nothing against the law. I just feel guilty." There was great confusion. The Dalai Lama and translator debated. Then the Dalai Lama said, "Guilt means you've committed a crime, done something that isn't allowed. Then you're guilty. So when that happens, you have an opportunity to feel remorse. Remorse is very good, very powerful. It means you feel the pain you cause to others. It brings deep connection, compassion, empathy. This softens and transforms the mind, so you resolve to never do that deed again. This is wonderful. Your mind transformed, so all is good. Regret, confess, make amends, take remedial action to remedy the damage done. Remorse deeply transforms your mind. This is really very good." No, said the Westerner, that's not really it. It's not, "I am guilty." It's a sense of, "I feel guilty." So not "I am guilty," a sense of "I feel guilty." Like feeling bad about myself, a type of self-hatred, a sense of shame about myself. The Dalai Lama looked puzzled and asked the crowd, "Who else feels this way?" Most Westerners raised their hand. It was such a powerful moment. And guess what it turns out? There is no Tibetan word for feeling guilty. It doesn't exist in their vocabulary. The closest translation is intelligent regret that decides to do things differently. So is parent guilt a Western phenomenon? That's something to think about. Imagine a world where we don't need to discuss or write about parent guilt because it just doesn't exist. Breathe that in. I know for me, that brings such a sense of relief and freedom. Some other tips that I would like to give, for ways to combat parental guilt, I'm going to put in the next video, and I hope that you will learn something on this and that you will be able to free yourself of the dreaded parent guilt. Hi, this is Grainne. This is part 2 of my video about parent guilt. So in my last video I quoted the Dalai Lama, and who best else to quote but the Buddha. So Buddha said, "You could search the whole world over and never find anyone as deserving of your love as yourself." My personal way to combat parent guilt might be a little bit unusual, but the kids can enjoy it too. Yes, so you can turn the nervous, unproductive energy of parent guilt into family fun. So what I like to do is I blast Let It Go from Frozen and sing it at the top of your voice. Move, dance, and sing your heart out. Hopefully that will let go some of the horrible parent guilt. Other tips that I would give for defying parent guilt, and as I said, it's very detrimental effects. Get the kids involved, ask them, is there anything I need to feel bad about? Sometimes kids can be brutally honest, but remembering that there is no perfect or right way to do things. You do what suits your own family. I know that's easier said than done. Do your best to keep it to the here and now. Try and gain some perspective. Is this particular thing you feel guilty over likely to be something you or your child will think about in 10 years' time, for example? If not, ditch it. Doesn't need to be something you feel guilty over. Fill your own bucket. This is something I talk about a lot. Take a break. Connect with hobbies or passions that you had before you became a parent. Connect with the person you were before parenting took over, or even just find new interests. Stop comparing yourself to others. Isn't this huge? Especially to other parents, especially those portraying happy families on social media. It's not real. Difficult for us to realise that when we're in the moment, but nobody has a perfect family and nobody has perfect parenting. So, just remember that as well. Ask for help. I'll say it again. Ask for help. Delegate to others when you feel overwhelmed or stressed. Get the kids involved in the tidying up or don't. Whatever way is easiest. Maybe instead get the kids minded. Take space to blast your tunes, drink a hot coffee, and get stuck in all by yourself. Reach out to others for support, just knowing that you're not alone. It may feel like it, but you're not. Online groups can be invaluable as supports and online communities for those of us who can't leave our kids and get out to in-person groups. That's something that we would relate to. We're members of Family Carers Ireland, for example, and it's been very helpful to link in with parents who are also carers of children with high needs. Another tip is learn some parenting techniques that, when practiced, can become your coping strategies. The key here is practicing them at the times when you're calm and you're not overwhelmed by emotion. There's no point in trying to practice these skills when you're already completely dysregulated and overwhelmed and stressed. It just won't work. It's like trying to reason with a toddler in the middle of a meltdown. It's just a waste of time and energy. Another tip that I would say, if the parent guilt is weighing very, very heavy on you, and it's out of proportion. I would say see about linking in with a professional if you need support for your own mental health. In fact, I recommend that most parents or carers would really benefit from psychotherapy or counselling if it's accessible to them. And if not, even some parenting support or parenting groups. So, this part is something I use a lot in my work, but I know that some people will absolutely feel rage about this one. So, if you hate affirmations and you hate the positivity and find it too toxic, move on past this bit because it is about affirmations. But it's not about affirmations for children and young people, it's actually about affirmations for parents. Personally, I use affirmations quite a lot in my play therapy practice and with my own children, and even just for my own mental health. So, my motto is fake it till you make it. You might feel burnt out and overwhelmed, but you can convince your brain that you're feeling grounded and hopeful. So, affirmations do help me with that. For me, affirmations like gratitude require effort, conscious, daily, or regular effort. They don't come naturally or feel natural to me, but they do help. So you'll see online there's loads of different ideas for how to use affirmations. You can say them out loud into a mirror, saying them at a particular time of the day, leaving notes for yourself in your lunchbox, in your makeup bag, in the bathroom when you're brushing your teeth, whatever it might be. Beside your coffee, probably, or tea if you're a parent. Creating an affirmations jar is one that I would use with families as well. I use affirmations as well at children's bedtimes. But again, it's mostly for the children's benefits, but maybe parents need to do that too. Some examples of affirmations for parents that can help fight that parent guilt. And some of these can be printed as well. So, I'll not compare myself to others. I'm proud of myself. This too will pass. I love being a parent. Tricky one sometimes, but say that over and over. I love being a parent. I love being a carer. I love spending time with my children. Even if it's not true in that exact moment, using the affirmations might help it to become the reality. I am enough. Isn't that a really big one? Our home is a safe place. It's okay to not feel okay. I let go of yesterday. I focus on today. Breaks are important. Breaks are allowed. I am the parent that these kids need. Nobody's perfect. I am a good role model. It's okay to take care of me. All parents have bad times. It's okay to not always love being a parent. My needs matter too. I'm a great parent. I'm a great carer. It's okay to ask for help. I'm doing my best, and that is enough. It's okay to not achieve perfection. I'm willing to grow and to learn. I'm keeping my children safe. My children don't want perfect, they want me. I'm modelling self-care. Looking after my own needs makes me a better parent. Nobody expects me to do it all by myself. My children love me. I am loved. I know that everything will be okay. Loving myself is the biggest gift I can give to my child or children. I give myself permission as a parent to set and hold boundaries. So for more affirmations, I'm going to put a link to an audio recording, and feel free to download that and listen to it if you want to do some work with affirmations. Hi, this is Grainne of All Aboard Therapy Services. Today, I just want to give you 5 tips for connections. These are kind of some of the things that we would discuss a lot in play therapy and in the training that we give to therapists and other professionals. But I believe that these can be easily adapted to parenting as well. So the first one is eye level. Being on a child's eye level is a really good way of building connection. Children spend so long looking up to adults and looking up in an adult-led world. Even, think of signs. We have to look up for the toilet sign. We have to look up to see pictures. If you're a small child, you spend most of your day looking up. So, getting down on a child's eye level, it gives the message, I am with you, I'm in this moment with you. Sit down, kneel on the floor, whatever it takes. And I love to see parents doing that. For me, there's nothing like pulling my child into a cuddle or onto my lap, if they want it, obviously. Or I sit down in an armchair and I open my arms wide. It communicates to them, I'm here for you, I'm available. That's one that I actually often do when we're just putting on coats and shoes, getting ready to leave the door, to go out through the door, to go out. I'll just sit on the stairs, and it's kind of a habit now. I just sit on the stairs, I just say nothing, and I just open my arms, and there's hugs there. And sometimes my kids will not want hugs, and that's also perfectly fine. Toes follow your nose. So what that means is turn your whole body towards the child, give them undivided attention, ignore the phone or other demands, be fully present, and that's also incredibly powerful. Noticing. So noticing builds self-worth. We all want to feel noticed. Notice the child's creativity or effort or imagination or problem solving. Take the time to notice, and I promise you this can build a really gorgeous connection between you and your child. Reflecting feelings. So this is one of the major pillars of play therapy, psychotherapy, creative arts therapies, or really any kind of counselling. So remember yourself how powerful a parental or adult voice was for you as a child. Maybe it was a teacher, a grandparent, a neighbour. Validate their feelings, For example, saying you feel sad, you feel scared, you're feeling frustrated because, and that's kind of the qualifier or the reason. So you're reflecting the feelings back. How would I feel in this situation? Observe, watch, validate their feelings. The next one is encouragement. So this is how we build self-esteem and confidence in our children. So let your voice be their guidance. As I was saying there, remembering other voices and how much they influenced you when you were a child. It's about commenting on a child's effort rather than the end result, or recognizing their contribution. So for instance, you were very kind when you shared your sweets with your brother. You're being so kind, you'll figure it out. So you're focusing on the process and the qualities rather than the end result. So your challenge for this week is set aside 5 or 10 minutes to spend with your child and practice these techniques. Even better, use them on the fly as the opportunity arises. Good luck.